Hi there, welcome to another edition of the Heart of a Youth Leader. This is part 2 of following on from last week's Heart of a Youth Leader episode. So if you've not heard last week's, I really encourage you to listen to that one first, just because this one will follow on and make a bit more sense. We're still in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, and it's just gold dust. I love these words. And where I'm going today is from verse 7 to 12. It says this: "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life may also be revealed in our mortal body. So then death is at work in us, but life is at work in you." And you know, I think back to when I was a youth pastor in a church in Twickenham in West London, quite a while ago now, and there was a time when our older teenage group, our 14 to 18s, was going really well, and it was growing and it was exciting and really enjoying seeing what God was doing in that group. I would meet up with the young people in the group one at a time, just for a one-to-one conversation, whether it's a walk in the park or chat in a coffee shop or whatever, just to check in with them. And during this season where I thought the group was going really well and growing well, when I met them individually, I started to realise they were all telling me the same thing. It would go something like, "Andy, I'm thinking of leaving the group." And I'm like, "Oh no, why?" And they'd go, "Well, the thing is, everyone else is doing so well and they seem to have it all together, and I just feel like a fake. I feel like I'm not being who I really am, and I can't be who I am in the group, because if they knew me, they'd be disappointed." And this happened not just occasionally, but time and time again. As I met over probably about a period of 3 or 4 weeks, every young person was saying, "Andy, I just feel like I'm not really as good in my faith as everyone else seems to be." So much so that I ended up having to stand up one evening in our youth group and go, "Guys, I've got to tell you what is happening." And so I said, you've been meeting with me, and you're all telling me the same thing, that you're feeling that you're not good enough compared to everyone else here. And I said to them, "Just look at each other. You're all telling me this." Now, of course, it's not literally all, but it was happening far too often for it to be just a few. And I said to them, "I've got to apologise to you, because it's obviously got something to do with the way we've been leading you is to make out that everything's fine." And the danger is, as youth leaders and as youth workers, we feel like we've always got to have it together. We don't want the young people to think that we ever have challenges. We don't want them to think that we're ever uncertain about what we should do in a situation, or life's difficult, because we're there for them and we need to be steady and all these kind of things we tell ourselves. But what I said to this group of young people was, "I'm really sorry if I've made it seem so easy to always follow Jesus." I said, if this has been made out to be perfect the whole time, we've got it so wrong. And I had to say, "Look, I'm really sorry. Life is not always easy for me. Following Jesus is not always easy. It's challenging. And we need to learn to be honest and vulnerable with each other." And I think when I said that, there was a relief in the room. And as they started to realise, we're all in this place. We're all in this place of being broken, of being insecure, of trying to work out what it means to follow Jesus as best as we can. And when we do that, we start to be a bit more real with each other. And we need that in our youth groups. We need honesty. We don't meet to pretend. Should be the one place we can come is our youth group and our church, where we can actually take our mask off, take off the Instagram filter, and be ourselves. And I think that's what Paul's really referring to in in this passage where he says these beautiful words. We are hard pressed on every side, but we're not crushed. Perplexed, but we're not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. Life is tough, he's going. Life is tough, but it's not impossible because we've got Jesus. And the wonderful thing is, the more honest we are, the more we reveal our cracks, the more the light shines through. We have this treasure in jars of clay, it says in verse 7, to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not us. And yet for too often and for too long, we try and make out that the power is in us, that it's not in God, but it's in us. But of course it's in him. And so we need our cracks to be visible so that his light shines through. So I can go, yes, I am insecure, but I know my Father loves me and he delights in me. And that helps me feel more secure. So what have you got to do to make sure that you're being yourself to your young people? Of course, it's not appropriate to tell them everything what's going on. We don't need them knowing if your marriage is struggling or you're struggling with an addiction or whatever, although you do need to tell somebody. Have you got a prayer triplet or a home group, or who are you offloading the real stuff with? A mentor is really useful in that as well. And I have two such people who help me in that capacity. But we need to be revealing ourselves as the cracked jar to our young people that we lead, so we can allow God to shine through us, rather than, we don't want them to go, look, there's Andy, he's brilliant in every way. We want them to say, look, there's Andy, God is brilliant in every way. And it's through our brokenness, through our imperfections, that they learn to see our dependence on our Heavenly Father. And they get to see God's glorious light shining through us. And as they see that, then they get to realise how they can live in that same place, where they don't feel like they've got to be the best, but they need to depend on the God who is the best. So that's my prayer for you this week, that you will work out what it means to be you, how you can use your imperfections, your insecurities, your weaknesses, to point your young people to God, who is perfect in every way and will meet our every need. Go for it.